Hello, fellow Inquisitors, Split Persona here, and welcome back to another character class guide video. Today we are going over utility items, specifically the defense-focused ones. Stuff like shielding and scatter fields and stuff like that. I did have somebody request this, so I'm like, you know what, let's start there. So there's a couple of different types you can get. I have them lined up here, and I have, at least as far as I know, I think I got the three main Psalm Code and shards that go with them, without actually getting too far into like the Psalm Code doctrines that you can construct, which that's a whole nother kettle of fish that we're not even going to deal with right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a map, and I'm going to show off each of these four and this fifth one that we have already equipped. But they do come in every rarity, including Relic, Archaeotech, Relic, and Ancient Relic. So you can get them in, the named items even. Like the special ones that are like event only. So you can get those in that as well as the ones where you have to actually go and, as you can see here, Ancient Relics, you have to complete objectives in order to unlock their perks. Like this one, complete missions on at least 4 levels higher than what you are, which I have this one of 3 done. So I brought these in as an example to show off what you can do with them. And they do have, you can get socket slots on them to put in these shards. So we're going to go over a few different things that are very good to have, and different options that I think are better than others. So without further ado, we are going to jump into a map. I'm going to go through them one by one, and we're going to show off what they actually do. Okay, so we're on this map here, and as you can see, it's just a simple exterminate all enemies, which is perfect for this demonstration. So we're going to go into our character, and we're going to look at the first one here, which is a Fabricatus scatter field. Now, if we look at what it does, it has Aura, Knockdown, and Knockback. Xenotech Scatter Field deals area damage around the caster with Knockback and Knockdown effect. Basically what it does is it releases an AoE effect around the caster, or in effect, your character. And what it does is it basically deals a little bit of damage, but its main purpose is to, if you get surrounded, disperse that crowd away from you. It pushes them back, and it knocks them down. Like I said, it will deal some damage. Not a ton, but it will deal some. Its main purpose, though, is to go and just push everyone away. So we're going to go up here, and we're not really going to kill anyone or anything like that, but I have my character zoomed in as far as possible so we can just show it off. And we're going to just let them go into this group here, and if I activate it, you can see there it just pushed everyone aside, and it has a very, very quick recharge. And watch these guys again. It pushed them away, and it does go and deal damage, like I said. So it will deal damage to lower level enemies, but if you're dealing with something that is like a higher tier enemy, or you're in a mission where the level is a lot higher than you, it's not going to kill them. It will knock them back and knock them away from you, but it's not going to outright kill them. And that's the main purpose of this here. This scatter field is, in my opinion, melee based. If you're running a melee character, you're getting into large groups of enemies. You're designing it so that you're running into a charge. You're charging into a group of enemies. You're getting into the middle of the swarm and stuff like that. It pairs very well with the armor that has the jump jet if you're playing as a Crusader. If you're playing as the Assassin, it pairs very well if you have, the weapons that have, like, the leap ability where you're leaping into the center of a group of enemies and, dealing area effect damage that way. If you start getting surrounded, you activate this scatter field. It'll push the enemies away from you, allowing you to get out if you need to. So this right here is a very much, in my opinion, if you're doing a melee build, this is a must if you're running melee. Like I said, look for something that does very good as far as your enchantments. Look for something that does bonuses for anything melee build or something like that. Or something where, deals return damage to melee attackers. Something like that would be very, very helpful. Like I said, I think the Fabricatus scatter field is more focused towards a melee build simply because of how it functions. If you're a ranged character, you're more than likely not going to have a lot of enemies coming up and attacking you at close range. Once in a while, you probably will. But more than likely, this here is going to be for melee-focused characters. So, that is the Fabricatus scatter field, and we are going to move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is the Rosarius force field. Protective Conversion Field grants immunity to all damage and all negative effects for 5 seconds. Now, this right here is, in my opinion, if you are a boss killer, simply because it is going to grant you complete immunity. Not saying it can't be used outside of a boss fight, but if you know you're going into a boss fight or, a real challenging, Void Crusade and it's your final mission and you're down to, like, your last life, this right here could save you if your health starts getting low. Your health starts getting low, you're surrounded, you're getting damage from all sides. Activate this. You're immune to all damage and all negative effects for 5 seconds. Gives you enough time to get away from the battle, get out of there, let your suppression regenerate, get a little bit of health back, get some time to go on your inoculator, pop your inoculator, get some more health back, stuff like that. So we're going to show this off. And again, we're going to go down here and we're going to find the next group of enemies. And right in here, and we're going to activate that, and as you can see, I have Rosarius force field, and I am not taking any damage. Now, it killed there, so let's go over here, and I activate it again. Now, you can see the little shield effect there. It's very faint, but you can see it. And then, right there, it fades off. So, let's just kill these guys real quick. Get rid of them, so I can get on with the next one. Alright, so that is that there. It's very simple, very easy to use. All it does is it grants you immunity. You do not take damage. You do not suffer any negative effects. If you are already suffering from something like poison, you will still suffer from that tick damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't cancel that out because you already have that status effect applied to you. If you were watching the video, you noticed that I still had those little green tick bars and all that stuff. So I was still taking a little bit of damage from the status effect that they applied to me. So if you have an effect applied to you already, you will still take a little bit, but it's not as bad. But it will prevent all further damage for 5 seconds. Now, like I said, it's, you know, in my opinion, for bossing. If you're doing a very, very hard level and you know there are hard enemies in it, you activate this only in an emergency because you only have 5 seconds. It's not going to be so much a shield as it is a get out of there quick button, in my opinion. So that is the Rosary Force Field. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is the Refractor Field. Protective Energy Field gives plus 20% supreme damage reduction, plus 25% suppression damage reduction, plus 2.5 max suppression regeneration per second for 30 seconds. Basically, this is not so much a shield as it is a damage reducer. This is going to give you more longevity if you are in a drug-out fight with large groups of enemies. This is, in my opinion, where you start getting into the out of the melee and heavy hitter range, and you start getting into the actual general mob killing range. Because whereas these other ones are quick lasting and stuff like that, and they, you know, expire in very short amounts of time, these ones here, they have longer cooldowns, everything else, but they last a lot longer. These here are for mobbing, in my opinion. You're not going to really want to use this in a boss fight unless it is a very tanky boss. You could definitely do this if you are a glass cannon type. If you are a glass cannon type and the boss is just not dying, you know, go right ahead. Activate the Refractor Field. You'll have 30 seconds of, you know, damage reduction, you know, suppression damage reduction, you know, suppression regeneration. But, in my opinion, this is better for if you're just doing like a purge level. If you're doing purging, this is awesome because you're going to reduce how much damage you take, plus your suppression's not going to go down from getting hit from all the enemies that are around you. Purge missions have a lot higher enemy count than normal. So if you're going through a purge level, this is perfect. It lasts for 30 seconds. You can get through a large chunk of the level if you can speedrun it correctly and just take out everything. So if you're running a Refractor Field, this thing works beautifully. And like I said, it's not a ton, so it's not going to be like this one here where the Rosarius Force Field is complete immunity for 5 seconds. So this one here grants complete immunity. This, in my opinion, you're not going to want to take this if you're going through, you know, anything less than, you know, an extremely, extremely hard level. Bossing, you know, of final level of a Void Crusade where you know you're going to take a huge amount of damage from a final enemy. Something like this is where this comes into handy. But if you know you're going to go through a long drug-out fight, get something that this where it's going to just reduce the damage that you're going to take over the entire time for longer. It's that balancing act of what's going to help me in the long run. More time that I'm going to be able to fight, or a quick burst of just no damage whatsoever. In my opinion, if you're clearing enemies and you're just doing a purge, this right here is going to be your best option. So we're going to show this off, if I can find the next group of enemies. There they are. Come here, boys. And we're going to activate this. Now, you can see it does have a lot longer of a cooldown. But I am standing right here in this, and as you can see, I am taking hardly any damage, and my suppression is regenerating as fast as it's going down. Now, once this goes away, you know, I'm going to start really taking some damage. So, and there it goes. just clean all this up. And there we go. So, yeah, as you can see, it is very, very strong. It does go, and it's more for keeping your suppression up. 100%. It will cause this to regenerate faster. It will drop how much that's going to go down. You know, this is very much for just going through a group of enemies, making sure everything is not going to deal as much damage for you. You can clear out the groups of enemies. It's for mobbing, in my opinion. So this right here, the Refractor Field, very much a mob-heavy item. Yeah. The Deflector Field, that's the next one we're going to talk about. So that's what I would say this role is definitely a, it's definitely a mob tool, in my opinion. So that is the Refractor Field, and we are going to jump on to the next one. Okay, now we're starting to get into the actual legit shields. So, the first one we're going to talk about is the Deflector Field. 50% item level regenerating energy shield. 3% energy shield regeneration a second. Affects regenerating shields from other sources. 30% reflect chance, 125 reflect damage. Basically what this will do is, this will project a force field around you. And unlike everything else where it is, you know, on a timer and this and that, this will stay with you the whole time. And it will slowly whittle away as you take damage. Now, the nice thing with this is, this will regenerate. If you look here, 3% energy shield regeneration a second. So this one will regenerate over time. However, you're only getting a half charge. You're not getting the full effect charge that you could. So this one's going to be the weaker of the two shields, in my opinion, but this will have the slight regeneration effect to it. It also has the effect that it will reflect a little bit of damage back to its attackers. So, if an enemy is attacking you, whether it be ranged or melee, they will take a 30% chance of getting that damage taken back to them, and it will be at 125% damage. So it'll be a slight damage boost to what they are dealing out. So the energy shield is able to also be buffed by certain items. And this is where your psalm codes and your shards come in. In my opinion, the shields are the best, simply because if you do a correct build, you can be invincible with a good shield. These things here, Scatter Field, very good if you're doing, a melee build, because you can just activate that and jump in the center. The Force Field, invincibility, immunity, very good to have for a little bit. The Refractor Field, damage suppression is never a bad thing, but these shields here are where it's actually at, in my opinion, as far as a defensive utility item. The first psalm you're going to want to look for is the Aegis Psalm. Plus 10 energy shield HP per hit. This one right here, the nice thing with psalm codes is, unlike a shard, where it depends on where you put it, whether in your armor, your weapon, or, any of the other equipped items, a psalm code can go into anything and still have the same effect. This one here, when you hit an enemy with your weapon, you will gain 10 energy shield. Now, if if you have a rapid fire weapon, like this one here, like the heavy bolter, every bullet that hits will give you 10 energy shield. On top of this, which also stacks with the 3% energy shield regeneration. So as you're building up your shield, it will also be regenerating on top of it, meaning that it will not go away. Now, the other thing that you can look out for is the voltaic psalm code. 50% shield charge gained on kill. Every time you kill an enemy, you will gain 50 shield charge as opposed to 10 on a hit. So if you have 2 slots and you put both of those on, you are going to be gaining a lot of shield charge very, very quickly. The other thing you're going to want to look out for are these fulgurite shards. If you put them in anything other than a weapon or an armor piece, you will get a +2 to energy shield efficiency. And these do, unlike the psalm codes though, these you can upgrade. So that +2 will change into a +4, and then a +6, and then a +8. So you can upgrade these shards. That's the nice thing with shards, as opposed to psalm codes. Psalm codes you can put into whatever and it'll still hold that same effect. Shards, you can upgrade them. So both are useful. So keep an eye out for these 3 items if you do decide to run either the Void Shield or the Deflector Shield. That 2% energy shield efficiency, it doesn't seem like much. But when you take 2% less damage when you have an energy shield equipped, that's a lot. And if you can upgrade them, it makes it even better. You can eventually get to, I believe it's like 10% efficiency, if I'm remembering correctly. So keep that in mind if you do decide to do these. Like I said, this one, in my opinion, is second best. This one is top best, and I'll go over why. There is also this here. This little combination I have is a psalm code. And again, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. But if you're running a shield build, you have a +50% or +50 shield charge gained on kill, +20 damage bonus for 2 seconds on hit taken, +50 shield charge gained on kill. So, but it gives you this shield or psalm code doctrine. 100% damage taken to energy shield is reflected to melee attackers as warp. So if a melee attacker attacks you, they're going to take 100% of that damage back as warp damage. That stacks with this 30% chance to take 125% damage. So you can sometimes just outright kill your melee attackers if you run this build. It is very nice. Like I said, the Deflector Shield, it's a second in my opinion, simply because of how I run my builds. But if you run a good force field build, this will take a lot of people's first, in my opinion. The only reason I don't is because of the max cap on it. It only goes to 50% on your force field. So let me show off what it actually does. So if I activate this, over here, you can see that I have 3,450 shield. Now, let's go find an enemy. You. Let's deal some damage and watch the shield. Now, if we pull back here, let's drop the turret so it deals with them, because I don't want them coming. If you look at the shield, it is slowly... Oh, there it goes. They killed it. Shoot. Okay. That's the one thing. If you watched it there for a second, you would see that it actually went and... Hang on, we might be able to do it again here real quick. Okay, activate that, take a little bit of damage. And let's just, come on. Hit me. Not them. Alright, you're not going to cooperate, are you? Okay. Yeah, no, you're not going to cooperate. Okay, let's see if we can't find one enemy. I just need one. Okay. There. So, we took some damage, and it regenerated back up. But, that's the issue. As soon as the charge goes away, and your timer runs out, that shield vanishes. So, keep that in mind. This shield will run away. Now, if you have those song code doctrines, and you keep killing enemies and stuff like that, you will keep that shield charge, but you have to just keep killing enemies, and you'll slowly build that back up. But this is nice if you're going and just doing an initial burst, but it's only 50% of what it could be. So that is the Deflector Field. Next, we are moving on. Yep, get out of here. I don't want you guys up there. Next, we are moving on to the final item. Okay, and the final item is the Personal Void Shield. Protective Energy Shield. Gain shield charge equal to 100% the level of the Void Shield. This one right here is, in my opinion, the all-time best. Unlike everything else where it has, Oh, I still gotta wait for the cooldown. I forgot about that. The cooldown on this is massive. It's very, very long. This will pair with everything else. Shield charges and, song code doctrines, shards, song codes themselves. This will pair with everything. But, unlike everything else, this here... Ooh, why are you not cooperating? Come on, give me what I want. Oh, you don't. Are you glitched out? Oh, please, no. Oh, I think it might be glitched. Oh, now I gotta wait for the shield charge again. No! Okay, let's just kill this group of enemies real quick so they don't have to worry about them going and killing me, because these guys are just a little too tough in my opinion, and I don't want to deal with two of them while we're waiting. So, okay, there we go. So, come on, cooperate with me. Oh, you're not going to go and function for me. Okay, fine, we'll do it this way. No, why can I not? I can do it for them, but I can't do it for my, There we go. Okay, now it's working. Fine, we'll do it this way. So unlike the one here, the Deflector Field, the Personal Void Shield gives you 100% level of what you can get for your shield charge. It will give you the complete, full, maxed out one. And there are ways to increase that through some code doctrines, through, shards, through different, even enchantments here. You can get enchantments that will increase your max level of a Void Shield. So you can max this out to ridiculous levels. And I was wrong. You can get a plus 20% on a shard for energy shield efficiency. Plus 20%. This is why I say energy shields are the absolute best. Personal Void Shields are, in my opinion, the absolute best defensive item you can have. Granted, if you are going a defensive route like this, you will lose grenades, you will lose mines, you will lose all that stuff. But if you're running like a heavy bolter or, a heavy weapon along those lines, you're not going to need it. You will be fine. Yay, finally recharge is done. Okay, so let's activate this. Boom. 6,700 shield. And if you look, there is no timer. No timer whatsoever. That shield is always there. Like I said, unlike the other ones where, it has the timer and everything else, this shield will always be there and just slowly absorb the damage. But if you can go and pair it up with psalm codes and shards and enchantments, you'll never run out of this. This here, if you're going to go and try to do a defense damage absorber build, you have to have a void shield. You need a void shield. The other stuff is good. The other stuff are good. The void shield, in my opinion, is just absolutely massive. Let me show you. So, if I kill these enemies, okay? Let's get into a big group, all right? Now, granted, this does not regenerate. So, if I do this, and I just kill these enemies, okay? Granted, I am taking a ton of damage right now, but I have it on my weapon where, I can regenerate and stuff like that. That's still there. My health has not been touched. And I took a ton of damage there. And this still does not go away. So if you set it up correctly, you can constantly just be going and, dealing damage, recharging that. And if it does go away, you just reactivate it. That's all you have to do. You just reactivate it, and if you look, I'm at 8,896. It stacks on top of what you already have. So if your shield is a little low and you recharge it, it will stack on top of that. Because we were at 6,000, I believe, 700 when we first hit it. Now, we're at 8,896. So this will stack. That's why I say this here. I have more shield than I do health now. This is why I say these void shields are the best. And this isn't even a good one. This has no good rolls, no good enchantments, no nothing. This one I have here, it's not the best, but this right here, the shard that I have, the 20% energy shield efficiency, that there makes it so much better. Because if you put that on it, it makes the shield work 20% better, like it says. You're going to be taking 20% less damage to your shield. So, in my opinion, these items are as follows in the rankings. You have your Scatter Field is tier 1. Your Force Field is tier 2. Refractor Field, tier 3. Deflector Field, tier 4. And your personal Void Shield is tier 5. That is my personal ranking. I know some people are going to have personal preferences and stuff like that. But that is how I would rank them. Granted, some people are going to want to play it a little bit different. Some people are going to prefer to get in there and they may like the way that the Scatter Field works. They may want to play melee and just, leap into a group of enemies and then just send them all flying backwards. That's perfectly fine. That type of gameplay, that is where the Scatter Field shines. Getting into the group of enemies and just sending them flying. That's how it's supposed to work. That is how it works. You know, the Rosarius force field, you know, that granting immunity to all damage. You know, there are times that, you know, depending on what you're doing, a void shield's just not strong enough. Sometimes you need complete immunity. You know, there is a boss on one of the Void Crusades. It's a knight. And I'm sorry, complete immunity is very much needed when you are trying to get in there to take down the shield generators for it. You need complete immunity to get in there, damage those while it's shooting at you. So, switching over to a Rosarius force field, getting that 5 seconds of immunity, getting in there, taking down the shield generators, and then getting out while, you know, being immune is where this would shine. You know, you have the Refractor Field. You know, damage reduction. It has its own niche. If you're doing a large group of purging, that would come in handy there. You know, Deflector Field. It'll give you the beginning basics of, you know, shielding and stuff like that if you don't have an actual shield. But in my opinion, the absolute king, the absolute top tier defensive belt utility item you can get, whatever you want to call it, is the personal void shield, because it gives you a protective energy shield, gain shield charge equal to 100% the level of the void shield, which, like I said, you can max it out and increase it with, you know, psalm code doctrines and, you know, shards and just psalm codes themselves even. So there's different defensive options, there's different items you can get to help boost your defensive abilities. So those are the 5 main defensive options. Like I said, I only went with Artificer level simply because, to be honest, these numbers can change drastically. I just wanted to show them off. You can get them in different things with different abilities. You can get them where they have, you know, better shield charge, you know, damage reductions, you know, stuff like that. Get something with a good roll. No matter what one you pick, get something that has the right enchantments for what you're using it for. If you're going with a void shield, get something that says, you know, increased shield capacity or increased shield effectiveness, something like that. If you're going with scatter field, get something that says, you know, reduced melee damage, because you're going to be using that more for melee damagers than ranged, because this does nothing for range. It doesn't, because it has too short of a range. It's a close AoE effect. You're not going to be using this on a ranged attacker. You're going to be using this on melee. So that is everything as far as defensive items. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of this video. I really enjoyed making this video. I did not think I was going to have that much fun making I really liked making my character guide videos, but the item videos, this was a lot of fun. So I'm more than likely probably going to be making some other videos along items and stuff like that, so keep an eye out for them. But that is going to be it for this episode. If you did like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good day!